All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Imagine a young student for a second. Let's call him Araf. Instead of dragging a massively heavy backpack filled with textbooks he's basically forced to memorize, he walks into a classroom buzzing with hands-on experiments, vibrant art, and really open, engaging discussions. Well, today, we're exploring exactly how the National Curriculum Framework 2005, or NCF 2005, envisions this exact shift, moving our schools toward a joyful, truly child-centered educational system.
This quote right here just hits the nail on the head when it comes to the core problem. An overly competitive rote memorization system literally robs children of their youth. It completely disconnects learning from real life. Think about it. When learning is just about passing a mechanical exam, it becomes a massive, heavy burden rather than a joyful journey of discovery.
Here is a quick look at our agenda for today. First, the burden of rote learning, followed by the 5 guiding principles: safe and inclusive classrooms, transforming core subjects, holistic student development, and finally, the essential systemic reforms.
Starting with Section 1, the burden of rote learning.
So, learning without burden. What does that actually mean? It's not literally just about lighter backpacks. Although, let's be real, that's a nice bonus. It's actually a fundamental shift in our entire social ethos. We have to stop forcing children to be aggressively competitive. Instead, the goal is to harness a child's natural, creative curiosity. And parents, you play a huge role here. You can really collaborate with schools by focusing on your child's emotional well-being at home. Just by praising their effort over their test scores, you can massively reduce that high-stress, high-pressure environment.
Notice the stark contrast here between these two paradigms. The old way? It's incredibly rigid, fear-based, and totally reliant on textbooks. But the new paradigm that NCF 2005 advocates is all about constructive learning. It demands active engagement. It means teaching concepts through relatable experiences so a student can actually connect what they learn to the real world outside the 4 walls of their classroom.
Moving on to Section 2, the 5 guiding principles. Now, these 5 guiding principles are literally the heartbeat of the NCF 2005. First, we need to connect knowledge to life outside school and shift totally away from rote methods. This means pushing beyond just textbooks to enrich the curriculum for overall student development. It also involves making exams much more flexible. We should be assessing progress without relying purely on those formal, scary, high-pressure tests. And above all, it's about nurturing a caring, democratic identity in every single student.
Section 3. Safe and inclusive classrooms.
Okay, an environment of equality, respect, and dignity is absolutely non-negotiable for true learning to happen. The source material is very clear. Students are especially vulnerable during adolescence. Teachers need to step up and provide social and emotional support to help them handle life's wild challenges, like peer pressure and gender stereotypes. Every child must feel valued. Teachers can really foster this by setting firm ground rules for mutual respect and instantly shutting down any discriminatory language.
So how do we actually create this inclusive education? Step 1 is absolutely crucial: a flexible curriculum and a strict policy of inclusion that provides equal opportunities for students from marginalized backgrounds as well as those with physical impairments. A big part of this is actually building barrier-free infrastructure in schools. Steps 2 and 3 emphasize providing strong social support and encouraging interactions across different age groups. When we do this, we ensure total equality and respect for all students.
Which brings us to Section 4, Transforming Core Subjects.
Let's talk about math for a second. The fear of math is so real for so many kids. Instead of agonizing over mechanical procedures and memorizing endless formulas, students should experience the absolute joy of math. We do this by posing meaningful problems, discussing solutions together, and using abstraction to actually understand relationships. Suddenly, math becomes a fun language to converse in rather than just a terrifying test to fail.
And what about science? Take a look at this progression. Notice how thoughtfully it builds a student's curiosity step by step. In primary school, it's all about getting your hands dirty and exploring your surroundings. By upper primary, kids are actively building simple technological modules. This naturally scales all the way up to complex problem-solving and deep experiments by higher secondary, ensuring science stays a thrilling journey of discovery at every single stage.
For subjects like environmental studies and social science, the whole goal is to safely connect the classroom directly to the complex, sometimes tough realities of the outside world. This is where teachers can really foster student agency through participative classroom discussions. By bringing local culture into daily lesson plans, like maybe integrating local folklore or community history, and by discussing issues like poverty and always using gender-sensitive language, we teach kids to critically and safely engage with the world around them.
Now, language shouldn't be a barrier, right? It should be a bridge. Managing diverse, multilingual classrooms means viewing multiple languages as a superpower, not a hurdle. Honoring a child's home language is always the first step. From there, implementing the three-language formula promotes fantastic multilingual national communication, which eventually paves the way for introducing classical and foreign languages later on.
Section 5. Holistic Student Development.
This is a massive statement. The visual and performing arts are absolutely essential tools for holistic student development. They are not, I repeat, not just some entertaining fringe activity to pass the time. Integrating art is absolutely essential to retaining our deeply diverse cultural identity and fostering real creative skills. In fact, it is highly recommended that the arts be a compulsory subject all the way up to Class X.
And it goes beyond art. By equally prioritizing physical health, which absolutely includes yoga and physical education to meet nutritional and psychosocial needs, we prepare students for a balanced life. Add to this integrating vocational education, which is just so essential for giving students practical, career-ready skills to bridge the gap between school and the actual workforce. Throw in peace education and teaching kids to be active creators of technology rather than just passive screen watchers, and you've got students truly equipped for the future.
Connecting habitat and learning is such a beautiful concept. It reminds us that we're all part of a larger ecosystem. This urges teachers to seamlessly connect environmental care with everyday classroom lessons, infusing it across every single discipline. This way, students genuinely comprehend their roots and learn that taking care of their natural surroundings is just a normal part of life.
Finally, Section 6. Essential Systemic Reforms.
Look, none of these incredible classroom changes can happen if the physical and structural environments don't match. Schools must physically embody the values of equality they are teaching, providing favorable physical environments and a strict policy of inclusion. Also, we really must transform those stressful evaluations into continuous, helpful feedback loops. For example, teachers can use a simple portfolio template to track a student's project progress over time, completely bypassing the need for a single, terrifying formal test.
These systemic reforms are the vital backbone needed to make learning without burden an actual reality. For school administrators, this means taking practical steps, radically upgrading teacher preparation, decentralizing governance through Panchayat Raj institutions, heavily integrating that vocational education we talked about, and completely overhauling the high-pressure examination system so that the focus is on actual, joyful learning, not just rote memorization. And just as a quick note, all of these incredible insights on shifting away from a burdened mechanical system are derived directly from the thorough breakdowns of the National Curriculum Framework 2005, brought to us by these source notes from Byju's.
I'll leave you all with this final, somewhat provocative thought. If joy is the true measure of learning, what is one step that you, whether you're a parent, a teacher, or just a community member, can take today to remove the heavy burden of rote memorization in your local schools? How can we all champion a more joyous, burden-free education for the next generation? Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me today.